Good morning and hello everyone. Welcome to Kind Malaysia 2021 panel discussion 2 on time to be kind, corporate role during crisis. Thank you for joining us today and we hope you will stay until the end of this session. Ladies and gentlemen, due to the current pandemic, many are struggling due to lockdown and restrictions. It is a difficult choice to be made by the government and authority to balance between life and livelihood, either to open up or to continue with certain restrictions. Either way, this prolonged pandemic has affected students' learning, social problems, and caused huge economic disruptions impacting so many families, and with breadwinners losing their income, jobs, and exhausted savings. However, there are many corporates and civil organizations that are also using excellent work during this crisis, which requires recognition and should not be forgotten. Our focus and objective from today's session is to raise further awareness and understanding of what some corporates are doing and can do during this crisis, their social responsibility and commitment. This discussion will inspire more corporates, business owners and employers, as well as civil staff to come forward to do more for society in the time of crisis. Today, we are very lucky to have distinguished panelists to discuss about this interesting topic. Firstly, we have Mr. Kuan Heng, or widely known as Uncle Kentang from Malaysia Community Policing. Second, we have Dato Dr. M. Gandhi, the founder and chairman of Bumiati Holdings Sendirian Berhad. Dr. Angie Hooi, Chee, co-founder of ShareAngel. Mr. Azmi Mahmood, the division head administration from Ranhill SAG Sendirian Berhad. And we have our moderator for today, Dato Teo Yen Hua, the former CEO of National Water Services Commission. As you notice, interestingly, our distinguished panelists are coming from various backgrounds. This sharing of experience and real-life stories hopefully will inspire more individuals and companies to contribute towards supporting the deserving society. Ladies and gentlemen, to begin with, allow me to introduce our moderator for today's panel discussion with the topic Corporate's Role During Crisis. Yang berbahagia, Dato Teo Yen Hua was the former CEO of National Water Services Commission. Prior to the position, he was a distinguished civil servant and his last post was the Deputy Secretary General of Ministry of Energy, Water and Communications. Now, without further delay, I'll hand over the floor to Dato Teo.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to everyone, and wish to thank the MC, and also I would like to express my appreciation, my gratitude to the organizer for giving me this opportunity to moderate the day 2 of our forum on corporate roles during crisis. Now, after 1.5 years, we are still facing a global pandemic that is so devastating, not only causing death, but also a lot of economic hardship. It is heart-wrenching to see that so many people in need of support during this trying period. Support not only in the form of food and daily necessities, but as Chie Haris Iskandar, one of the panelists, said yesterday, that he is beginning to see that some of our fellow Malaysians are finding it difficult even to pay their rent. Nevertheless, I'm more positive, positive in the sense that I believe that Malaysians, we are a wonderful one. We will come together to address this problem. This morning, I read about two kind visually impaired Malaysians who themselves need assistance but have come forward to help at least 100 hungry people through their self-sponsored food donations. I'm indeed touched by their generosity, love, and caring heart. I believe many similar stories are not reported, and I think many corporations have also come forward to help the needy. We are fortunate today to have 4 fellow Malaysians who come from different backgrounds, but having a common cause, that is to work towards a better Malaysia, to share with us their experiences and how their efforts have contributed to alleviate the hardship faced by the poor and those badly affected by this pandemic. In addition, I hope that our discussion this morning could also trigger some ideas and suggestions on corporate roles during crisis, not only to address the current crisis, but prepare ourselves also. Sorry, it was. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, Dato Teo.
Yeah. Okay. So let me introduce the 4 panelists. We have Dr. M. Gandhi. He's the founder and chairman of Bumiati Holdings Sdn Bhd. Dato Gandhi is a pioneer in the trade exhibition business and launched many trade exhibitions in the Asia Pacific region since 1990. Throughout his career in the past 30 years, he has developed exhibitions in several industries, including IT, telecommunications, environment, renewable energy, construction, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, capital markets, security and defense services, fashion, beauty, automotive, and food. And in these many years, and also in many countries, he has faced many moments of success as well as faced with unprecedented challenges. Then we will have Mr. Kuan Heng. Mr. Kuan Heng is more popularly known as Uncle Kentang. Malaysian community policing. Incidentally, Mr. Kuan and myself, we come from the same town, Batu Pahat, and his kampung and my kampung is just only about 3 kilometers away. Popularly known as Uncle Kentang, Mr. Kuan is a former policeman. He has been instrumental in assisting in the underserved communities in Malaysia. In his experience as a policeman, he realized the main driver behind crime is actually poverty. Through the organization he founded, Community Policing Malaysia, he and his team have been providing RM1 ringgit first service, food deliveries to the poor, affordable ambulance services, and his famous Sepuluh Pasar, 10 cent Pasar program, where he donated items are sold for cheap to the needy. And We have a next speaker, a young professional, young lady. Her name is Dr. Angie Lee Hui Chiang. She's a co-founder of ShareAngel. Dr. Angie is a young entrepreneur who co-founded ShareAngel, an NGO that advocates a zero-waste lifestyle through sharing and barter trading concept for sustainable living. She upholds the UN Sustainable Development Goal 12 to promote sustainable consumption and production practices via recycling and upcycling. To accomplish this, she co-developed a social bartering application called We Share More, where communities can share their usable pre-loved items or barter it for necessities like food, clothes, and books. I think he will also share with us how the single mother has also benefited from their program. Our last but not least, panelists come from a very well-established water services provider, the Ranhill SDJ. His name is Azmi Mahmood. And the water provider for Johor is Ranhill SDJ, which is actually the second largest water service provider in Malaysia. Azmi is the head of administration. His responsibility covers training, consumer services, CSR, and corporate sustainability and stakeholders management. He has been in the water industry since 1986, and prior to this, he headed the customer services department and corporate communications department of Ranhill SDJ. He is a council member of NWE. He was a member council member from 2009 to 2013, and currently he belongs to Ranhill's Sustainability Working Group. And I wish that later we will spend a little time, since we have two corporate individuals here, that we can touch a little bit on sustainability agenda, which I think that will be able to prepare the country for future shocks, especially such as the current pandemic shock. Yeah. With that, may I now invite Dato Gandhi, would you take us through and tell us your vision when because Kind Malaysia is a brainchild of Dr. Gandhi, and I was with him since 2015, if I'm not mistaken, Dato Gandhi, when after my retirement, he invited me to join him, to promote these exhibitions, these conferences, and also on Kind Malaysia. Dr. Gandhi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dato Teo, and distinguished members of the panel. Actually, this concept of Kind Malaysia came over a dinner. Sometimes, some ideas just come over casual discussions. It was with a couple of my corporate friends, customers, partners. It was a round table, and somebody said, we are doing so many CSR projects, but we are always contributing to the same organizations every year. Are there other corporates, other NGOs or foundations? So that discussion somehow went in that direction. So we are in the business events industry. Business events is actually, we bring buyers and sellers together. That's what we do for a living in all over the region, not only in Malaysia, in Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, all over the region. So we thought, why not we utilize this experience and knowledge of bringing buyers and sellers together by bringing corporates and NGOs together, create a platform, provide a space for the NGOs so that the corporates can come and visit, connect, have presentation, the same concept of promoting any industry, whether it is a furniture industry, whether it is a manufacturing industry, why not we use the same concept to promote kindness? So it was just an idea that came about. And in 2018, we did the first event in MyTech, and many organizations, suppliers, venue, everybody sponsored, and we brought together a wonderful event. And we thought, why not we continue this moving forward and not to wait for the pandemic to be over and do it virtually at this point in time. So that's why we are here. And I'm glad that there's a lot of support from both corporates, individuals, and also NGOs for this event.
Okay, okay. Then I will now, later we can have more discussions on this, yeah, Dato Gandhi. I know that you are also looking into the area of ESG, which is actually environmental, social, and also governance. Yeah, I think many of us are also in this area to try to see how Malaysian should move forward. Yeah, in the area of because corporate roles during crisis, yeah, it's only a part of the overall corporate responsibility. Yeah. And countries will benefit, stakeholders will benefit, helping the poor, extending our support to the community, by the corporate sector. So we will come back. Let me just introduce, get our Mr. Kuan to just introduce his efforts in helping Malaysian. We read a lot on the newspapers. I've personally only met him virtually over this event. And Mr. Kuan, could you just share with us some of the efforts, noble efforts that you are doing? Mr. Kuan.
Good morning, Dato. Good morning to honorable panelists on board. I do not think that what we do are great. It is our responsibility as a citizen of Malaysia, not only CSR, corporate social responsibility, but I think as Malaysians, we like to see a good country for our children, for our grandchildren. So incidentally, when we moved from one assistant, we found out that we need to complete the assistance because when we put up Pasar Prosen, actually to allow the people to share their wealth, where you can bring in your goods and you can allow the unfortunate society to benefit from your donation. This is a small, very minimal cost in the Pasar Prosen, and but a big impact because we can change people's lives by giving them what we are no longer need to use. From that, we saw there are people who are poor. Why they are poor? They are sick. So why they are sick? Because they cannot go to hospital. They don't have money. So we put on taxi 10 cents. By the time they get bedridden, then they cannot travel by car. We put on ambulance. By the time they pass away, they got no money to handle their what. So we put on the hearse and the van janazah. And we saw that they are sick and they need wound care. So we put up the wound care. So these are actually solutions for the people that need us. In the sense that we have many good doctors in Malaysia, but we have patients that cannot even afford to eat. Then if they want to travel to hospital, there is a gap there. So we are the one that put up the ambulance, the taxi 10 cents, so that these people can get medical attention and their health will improve by the time they can go back to work, and so we can improve their life. This is what we are doing actually.
Yeah. Mr. Kuan, can we just ask you a very pertinent questions? Do you get support? How do you finance all these programs?
Okay, our journey is about 16 years on the big scale.
Yeah.
Big scale, that means we do it every day. Charity is not like we have Sunday or we have rest day. No, we have we do it every day for 16 continuous years. Prior to that, we do it in a small scale. Yeah. So when we begin, nobody is aware. No corporates is aware about us. But as the thing prolonged and people see that we are not affiliated to any religion or even political thing, corporates are coming in. And actually, I'm now here in Kuala Pilar. We are getting a piece of land here from corporate. So this is how,
Yeah, good. And we will come back to you later. Let me just now go to Dr. Angie and Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee, please share with us, your efforts. Dr. Lee, yeah.
Thank you, Dato Teo, for the introductions. Good morning, everyone. My name is Angie, and I'm the co-founder of ShareAngel. Together with me, ShareAngel has actually another 3 founder, who is Engineer Lim Simpo, Engineer Kong, and Engineer Dr. Casey. All of us are actually UTM alumni, but different generations, obviously. So we have about 4 generations in our community boards from 90, 80, 70, and 60. So we are mostly environmental engineers, and we strongly believe in influencing without efforts. So the act of giving is a powerful tool that everyone has. And in the meantime, we do this for our Mother Earth. So this is the reason we kickstarted our first CSR projects in 2019 to collect the pre-love and surplus from our companies, friends, and family. Surprisingly, right, in less than a month, we collected more than hundreds pre-love items such as toys, bags, books, shoes, a lot, which are in excellent condition. It's just like a new, and most of them, right, maybe like used only once or twice though. So we clean and sanitize the pre-loved items, then we distribute them to the low-income communities. From this, right, we found that many Malaysians are blessed with more than what we need, while others need a helping hand. You might not know that your unwanted pre-loved items will be the treasure for others. So during the pandemic last year, we established officially ShareAngel as an organization that promote the 4R lifestyle, which is the reduce, reuse, recycle, and restore for a zero waste community. So we emphasize minimalist lifestyle that encouraging the community to give away the excessive item, and we created the platforms to channel all these excessive items to the low-income community. So we initiated the ShareAngel Single Mother projects during the pandemic, with the objective to support the single parent families to get the usable pre-loved items during the economic downturn. So besides, we also established the community barter trade platform for the community to share their pre-loved items and get necessities like food, clothes, books, and more. So our aim is to connect people who share the same interests and raise the interest and awareness for a zero waste community. So besides, during the pandemic, because of our movement restrictions and all that, very hard to get people come into the barter trade in our platform. So we collaborate with a tech company to develop an interactive barter trading applications called the WeShare. So the community can now share their pre-loved items or barter trade with others to get the necessities even during the MCO. So now you can download it in an Apple or Google Play Store. So our approach, right, is towards the community base. So we set up a community platform, community store, community events. Then we engage the local SME to do CSR for their community. Then only we slowly spread to a wider public. So we targeted to about like 100 SME to join us in the next future, next 5 years, and let's do this together. for our and become the guardian of Mother Earth.
Yep, very good. I will come back to you. Because,
Thank you.
there's one, Dr. Lee, I will come back to you on one topic that is quite close to my heart. That is because you see currently a lot of students from the low income group, they find it so difficult to attend the virtual class because they do not have the computer, they do not have this notebook and laptop. And I believe that a lot of us here have this pre-loved item. It may not be able to function as good as for you to do our daily work, but to just attend a Zoom class, why can't we give away? Why can't some organization look at this? Now, let me come to Chie Azmi. Chie Azmi,
Yes.
can you hear me? Yes, Chie Azmi is a close friend. Know him many
Yeah.
years. Yeah, and also very active in the NWA. So can you tell us a little bit of your Ranhill SAJ's contributions during the current crisis?
Yes, thank you, Dato Teo. Well, it's nice to see you again, even virtually.
Yeah.
The only hope that we can see face to face. I've not been in KL for quite some time now, based in JB.
I see, yeah.
Distinguished panel. Well, as Dato Teo mentioned earlier, Ranhill SAJ basically is an integrated water supply company in Johor. We serve a population of 3.7 million in a full cycle of drinking water supply system, sourcing raw water, treatment work, distribution of treated water, and up to the consumer right of billing and collection. Ranhill SAJ is unique in a sense as comparatively to other water utilities because basically Ranhill SAJ has transformed from 1986 to 2009 from a government-run company to a private company owned by the government, then totally a privatized company, and then now under regulated asset-light company under the Wasia Act, which was once regulated by Dato Teo, of course. Yeah. And well, where can I start? Well, but basically, what I'm trying to convey here is that our do kind or our corporate social responsibility revolve around the textbook 3 basic principles: the community, the environment, and of course the economic side of it. We look at it from that angle, and at the same time, we try to focus on area where we are good at, rather than area that we are not familiar with. So on environment, for example, really go deeply into environment because we understand that environment is the essential part of raw water that eventually will be scarce in the future. So some of our activities related to environment includes tree planting program, which is in line with the targeted national to have 1 million trees planted. And currently we have contributed quite a hefty sum in the state of Johor, in the surrounding area of Sungai Layang Dam, and we work closely with the Badan Kawas Selir Air Negeri Johor, Bakaj.
Okay.
Also, there's a lot of other things that we do. We develop eco trail, nature walk, in line with the community alam sekitar, inspiration to have as many deny as possible. This is something which is closely at the heart of our Dato Sri Zaini Ujang.
Yeah.
Dato Teo.
Yeah, but let me just ask you, do you come across during these 1.5 years that some families, especially from the very poor families, are unable to pay the water bill? Do you come across that?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
That is part of our community effort.
Okay.
So under the community effort, we look closely on our consumer. there is family under the B40 which are unable to pay, and most of the time when they are unable to pay, we will always give assistance in the form of rebate, or they can easily pay their installment.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to highlight is the main initiative that we have so far embarked on is the amount that we have spent for B40, providing a 10-meter cube of free water, and basically this involves 146,000 accounts.
Okay.
Yeah, which costs a total of 73,000 ringgit up to this moment, and we have another e-Kase program which involves 3,240 accounts.
Okay.
And up date we have contributed up to 1.24 million.
Okay.
So these are some of the programs which we focus on the consumer, and especially during COVID, where most of them have some difficulty in paying their bills.
Okay.
But another serious matter which I would like to highlight is that the continuous crisis that happens all over Malaysia, Selangor, Negeri Sembilan, Pahang, Terengganu, Melaka, Kelantan, for example. So in every of these crisis situation, we also have a program where we call it a humanitarian aid program to water industry.
Yeah.
So whenever there is a crisis occur, we will be among the first to be there to provide our tankers to ease their burden during this crisis time.
Yep.
So I can go on, but I think I'll let you take on the floor if you want to highlight.
Okay. Yeah, good. And that humanitarian practices, I know that Ranhill was even extended it to our neighboring countries, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Azmi, I think
yes,
it was at Chee or something. Yeah.
So,
yeah, very good. Now, I would like to come back to Dr. Gandhi. Yeah, Dr. Gandhi. I think, as I've mentioned just now, that one aspect of this corporate role is in the area of ESG. Yeah, and you know that currently many corporate entities or corporate companies are facing problems, but there are also some are getting good returns because of the shortage of the current commodities and all those things globally. Yeah, and also but how do you see that whether these companies are already playing their role, or do you expect them to play a bigger role in this, Gandhi?
Yep. Okay. ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance.
Yeah.
This is becoming extremely important in the global investment field. In fact, some of the biggest investors in the world, in the large companies, even in London Stock Exchange or New York Stock Exchange, are actually pension funds.
Yeah.
Or these are huge pension funds. And who are the pensioners? The pensioners are people who have worked all their life or working their life towards that, and they have all these funds. So now there is a social movement in the world where these pension funds are being forced by the investors themselves, the ultimate people who are putting the money, to tell the companies that they're investing on their behalf, you can only invest in companies that are environmentally friendly, that are socially responsible, and they have got good governance.
Yep.
If they do not have these three important components, they say even if the company is profitable, you cannot put the money there. So this is becoming more and more important in the global investment field. And not only from the investor side, also a lot of young investors are coming. Young people are more socially responsible. They feel that this is the future of the world, and we need to have corporates that are responsible. And this is also changing the way corporates are thinking. It is not only being kind, but it is also, it is in their interest of attracting investors that they are kind. So there's two components here. One is kindness to come from inside, to be real, but at the same time, there is a pressure in the world, including both regulations and also from investors and the society as a whole, to encourage corporates to become more socially responsible. And this is good for the company. What I'm trying to say is that your share prices will be better if you are socially responsible in the long term.
Okay. I can see Mr. Kuan, would you wanted to also share your thoughts on this, Mr. Kuan? Yeah.
I think what Dato Gandhi has spoken just now really draw my attention, and I hope that more corporates in Malaysia will adhere to this and listen to this, and will the end of the speech was the thought was the share prices will be better. So I think this is a very interesting subject.
Yeah, but let's look at it a bit more deeper, and please feel free, the panelists, Azmi, Dr. Lee, you can all come in, can also raise your comments, ask questions. I'm looking at Mr. Kuan. Yesterday when I heard the National Kidney Foundation's talk, they require 30 million a year. 30 million a year. And currently they are also having difficulties, but they continue to commit, they continue to provide the service, as what Mr. Kuan has mentioned. It is, you just cannot stop. There are a lot of people out there that require this assistance. But would it be good, Mr. Kuan, that if the country can have a national humanity fund or something that kind, whereby that you have a proper institution to administer it, and corporates who are willing to contribute, those who make a lot of money during the current pandemic crisis, some of them, I mean, it is not that they jack up the price or anything. It is a natural demand supply situation. Yeah, so they can always contribute this. Mr. Kuan, you have any ideas of whether you think that the NGOs will support this, Mr. Kuan?
I believe we should support this, because apparently what my experience in this society, there is in this pandemic actually we see there is a very strong need to lift each other up, because many business are disrupted by this pandemic, and of course many lost their job. And we have, as I said, that every day we are battling suicidal cases, because what we see is the number of deaths in COVID caused by COVID sickness, but we did not see what is caused by the pandemic. The number, the dark numbers of death caused by the COVID, I believe, is higher than what was reported as COVID sickness. You see, yesterday we have two very sad story of people jumping from building. One is from 33-story, one is from 22-story. I think there is an emergency for corporates to come in now, and any businesses to come in now to really assist Malaysians by providing, not only providing food, but providing jobs, opportunities. That is very important.
Dr. Angie, you wanted to also come in to share some of your thoughts on this?
Yeah, maybe I can share in terms of like the small organizations like us, right?
Yeah.
Because we are still a very young core organizations. So there is a misconcept that the CSR programs, right, are only adopted only by a large company who have grown their business to the point that they can give back to the society. While CSR is not compulsory for the SME, many companies might not feel that the needs to engage in it, especially during the crisis. But from my point of view, right, CSR contribution should be in proportions with the size and profitabilities of the organizations.
Yes.
Therefore, one should not regard a small company contributing time or like some efforts to be claim them to be less CSR oriented than the large company that contributed a huge sum of voluntary events. I have seen many CSR SME, right? They created a very small CSR programs to their communities during the pandemic. Although their initiatives have not often as well publicized as the large corporations. You can start a very small CSR programs, right? You just engage your local communities to your organizations, you know, provide them a job opportunity, ask them to sell something or something like that. Like with the purpose, right, you spread awareness within your community slowly to a wider public, and may as well as a catalyst for other SME to consider and practice the CSR together. So I do believe that a small gesture can have a big impact. The only limits to your impact is your commitment. So yeah, this is like from our SME kind of point of view.
So that's why I wanted to follow up with you on that, because you managed to get the tech company to help you also too, you know. So what about looking at this pre-loved computer, you know, where I think yesterday we heard from the panelists that some of the poor families, low-income groups are actually struggling to keep, you know, their children to be able to follow the virtual classroom. And we are aware that there are some corporates who have come forward to donate some of these. But I believe that, you know, a lot of us, Dato Gandhi, I'm sure, you know, Azmi, Dr. Lim, the Kuan, we have our some of the older version of these the notebook and all those things, you know, which if somebody can just get it refurbished, you know, and maybe update some of the software and donate it to this group of one, they can use it for no need to very long. You can even use it 2-3 years, you know, later, you know, slowly they will be able in a better position when the parents got employed again. You know, hopefully they will overcome. But is there such a scheme going on now, Dr. Lee? Whether you know about this?
Yeah, I do know about like all this kind of issues that like the kids don't have the sufficient equipment for their schooling or virtual class and all this. That's why we are actually also planning towards this directions, like having all this kind of sharing program. Like because we start with the single mother, like the single mother is like similar to what Dato Teo says, that we support the single because you know like kids' toys is very expensive. Right, and then the single mothers sometimes they can't afford for all this like kids' toys or clothes, right, for their children. So we started with the pre-loved moms and babies items, and actually a lot of people have this kind of items, and they just mainly like they use mainly few months, you know, then they change because kids grow very fast, right? So they just have to throw away and all this. So like this kind of initiative is like, oh, we collect this item, then we channel to the single mothers and their kids, you know. So the same things like we will do this for the students. In fact, we are actually in the midst of this program.
Yeah, good, very good. Azmi, would you want to also share some thoughts on this? How we can, you know,
on doing good the community. Basically, what Ranhill and Chee is doing is to go through their stakeholder engagement. so that we are very clear on whenever they provide a listing of those who are really in need. Because we can just go and give to any particular part, but we are not sure whether these are the group that really need. So by going to our stakeholder and have a strong engagement with all our wakil rakyat, then we will get the true picture of what's on the ground. And quite interestingly, that Mr. Kuan mentioned just now, the participation of corporate bodies should come in now. But I believe there is a need for the government to set such a, as you said, Dr. Teo, a humanitarian channel, so that we can really contribute towards that channel and benefit to the maximum. As it is in Johor, SAJ Ranhill has contributed to the state government, but also has contributed to the state, to the federal government in form of monetary, in form of food, in bakul makanan for the needy, the mineral water, ventilator machine. But this is all just scattered around where we got the information from our stakeholder. But it's good if we have a very structured humanitarian channel where we can easily do our donation of philanthropy work through that particular channel.
Good. And coming back to Dato Gandhi, you think as an entrepreneur, you think is this idea will be receptive, or you think that there will be objection to this?
No, I think it has to be a combination. It depends on each corporate. Okay. Ultimately, I would like to introduce this concept of social entrepreneurship.
Social entrepreneurship, yeah.
See, we business people are entrepreneur. Look at, I mean, right now we have Mr. Kuan here. Mr. Kuan, do you come from a billionaire's family? Sorry?
No, Dato.
Yeah, you see, but the impact.
Mr. Kuan,
he looks like 1 billionaire.
But my point is that no, it was his intention, his kind heart.
It's from the heart.
It's his intention. It is good intention that he dedicated his time. But what he has achieved, you know, if somebody does a study about the amount of money would have required to do what he has done, you know, over the years, must be only even a billionaire may not want to do it.
Yep.
So it's to me, it's the intention. So you don't need a lot of money. Sometimes we think that we need a lot of money. We need to be creative, because as an entrepreneur, when you start a business, you do not start with a big capital. But if you have a good intention that you want your business, okay, you have a shareholder, you have partners, you need to make profit. Of course, any business cannot run at loss. However, if the CEO says, I also want to have in my overall objective that whatever my company does, it has to give back to society. And it's not only money, it doesn't have to be just money. For example, I recollect, the business that I was running in ASEAN, we were running in 10 countries, from Vietnam to Cambodia to Myanmar. And my general managers, I always give them a KPI. End of the year, you know, their bonus is also linked to some positive things that they would have done in their community. And I could see that they are very creative. I give you one simple example. About 6 years ago, I was in Ho Chi Minh City, had a meeting with the Ministry of Agriculture there. And the minister was saying that, no, we have this big problem in southern Vietnam. It's a place called Kentang, where there is the water, you know, in that area has become very salty. And the people there were all rice farmers, and they cannot grow rice. And they want to change more into aquaculture. So what we did was that it didn't, because we are in the trade show business, I knew some friends in Europe who are experts now in aquaculture. I called them. So then we did organize a event there, got sponsors, and educated the farmers about how to manage water. Of course, Dato Teo, you are in the water, and we also got some experts. So sometimes, it is just bringing that knowledge. Mr. Kuan, you were saying that you are in Kuala Lumpur now. You must have, there's a reason why that corporate community is contributing to you, because they have got good intention. There are a lot of corporates who have got good intention, but they want to see the result. They don't want the investments to go in the wrong direction. So this is where I think if we can partner, corporates can partner with NGOs, take up specific projects, specific mission. So let's say I take up water, or another one takes up food, another one takes up environment, and then partner with the relevant NGOs and build the expertise and also the knowledge and go in the long term for this. And so my bottom line is that if we have social entrepreneurship, it can be done. It can be done, and that's the reason CSR and ESG should be the responsibility of the CEO, not just put it under a PR department. The CEO has to personally take responsibility and make sure that it is in the agenda of the monthly meetings or the annual meetings, that it has to be a real agenda, and it has to come from real. It has to be from the heart. It cannot be just, just to make sure there's a report in the annual report end of the month, end of the year. I've got 2-paragraph report, I've done it. Then it will not happen, because your intention is everything. If you got the real intention, the impact will be certainly good. As an example, Mr. Kuan's example.
So good. I would like to get some, the thoughts I get from Azmi. Azmi, I know Ranhill SAG is also into this. If you read Ranhill's annual report, you can see that they are also into this ESG, which is as what Dato Gandhi say, there is a global trend. I don't think we can escape that, because what that we do a lot of globally, because nowadays with internet, what you do, what you don't do, everyone knows all this. Human rights issues, how do you treat your workers, what is the impact of your products on the community, on the community, not only domestically, but also overseas. So you produce something that use up a lot of energy, it is also not sustainable. So you need to innovate. Dr. Lee will know that innovation, that is part of the SDG 12. So, Azmi, what about Ranhill?
I quite agree with Dato Gandhi when he mentioned that ESG should be part and parcel of a company target, actually, and it should be under the CEO, as it is under Ranhill SAG, because we look at whatever effort under CSR, it's not merely a philanthropy effort where we give out money, sign up check, and give donation, but we do select what kind of project, and usually we'll go with NGOs. For example, for the river, Friends of River.
Friends of River.
We truly support that, because we know that in future the scarcity of raw water will occur. So we need to do something, and we align ourselves with such NGOs so that it benefits the public, the NGOs, and also the company in the long run. Same thing as when we work together with stakeholders. So it gives a boosting image to the stakeholder for the Wakil Rakyat, and at the same time we truly understand which part of the area of our services is lacking, So it's not just a mere philanthropy, but it is a strategic work, CIS program towards the betterment, sustainability of a company in the long run.
Yeah. Okay. Fellow panelists, I think I would like to, you all to look at some of the questions, because we have a few questions now, and I would like to start with this question is from Mr. O.C. Tan. Where are we on the roadmap towards the zero emission economy? Yeah, maybe I get Dr. Lee to respond to this. Dr. Lee?
Yeah. Okay, as in terms of the environment, right, climate change is a hot topic nowadays. I think all of us know. Like Malaysia governments have made a commitment to reduce the intensities of its carbon emissions by 45% by 2030 in the Paris Agreement, and aim to become a zero neutral society by 2050. So like, but the current situations now is like, I'm not mistaken, is like they just reported in the UNFCCC is like the latest net emissions of 75.5 million tons, and only be able to achieve the carbon emission intensity reductions of about 6.2% only by 2016. So in Malaysia, we still have a lot to do to reduce our carbon footprints commitments. So of course, like this need all the efforts from all the corporates, industry and all that. So from my point of view is that, right, environment is our shared responsibilities.
Yeah.
Like it's not like that is the government's issues. This is the people issue and all that. But from the NGO point of view, right, we are trying to engage. The current strategies of combating the climate change reflects the technological, commercial and industrial dominance of our market-led society. But the people's behavior, right, it seems as separates from this predominantly technological solution, and it's considered difficult to influence and change. So our NGO should act as a moderators to engage people from the bottom-up approach to address this climate change, to complement the government top-down approach in combating the climate actions. Like this is why also we kickstarted our ShareAngel, which aim for the sustainable environmental developments. And one of the things that I also want to highlight is that, like, because we are the how to say, we are the environmental initiated organizations. It's very hard for us to get the funding, if compared with all the donations type of program. So this is also mainly attributed to the fact that Malaysians, they still take little to no actions towards having an environmental sustainable lifestyle. Mainly because of the lack of motivations in environmental issues, right? Most of the people felt that they could not have an impact on an individual level, or simply they are unaware of the environmental crisis, such as climate change. Some of the people still did not believe that climate change is the fault of human action, though.
Yes. So, I mean, I'm now trying to share some of my thoughts based on my civil service experience, Now, when I was in the Ministry of those days in the year 2000, Ministry of Energy, Communication and Multimedia, we introduced that Communication Multimedia Act. In the Act, there is a provision of universal service provision, a clause, a requirement, because Dr. Lee, since you talk about so difficult to sometimes to get funds and all those things, there is that a clause, a provision for the regulator to require the service providers to contribute, that is for every USP, Universal Service Provision, USP, I will try to relate this because I think it is something important, and I don't know whether it is proper for the relevant ministry to take it up on these humanitarian issues. So because the I totally agree with Dr. Lee that still some of our fellow Malaysians are still not really into the environmental issues. And that can be dangerous in the sense that we look at it globally. The trend, as what Dr. Gandhi said, is a responsible investment. You know, people are looking at where to invest responsibly. Yeah. So in that law, which the regulation I was involved in drafting that regulation, the requirement is every 6 cents of what we pay to the operator, like our handphone, goes to this fund. And over the years, I think they have accumulated this fund, and it is used to provide universal service, you know, especially those uneconomical rollout network in the rural areas. Supporting, I think they also use to support some of the notebook given to the poor students, you know. So in the case of environmental issues here, do you think there is a need that those who actually pollute the environment, those who actually using these limited resources in their business endeavors to contribute a little sum of money, you know, based on, as you say, based on profit level, because they also need to survive. We cannot, you know, like we know all. I was also in the Ministry of Primary Industries. Our oil palm is considered, palm oil is our golden commodity. Yeah, so that is don't kill them. But at the same time, we need to protect the environment. And this money that can then be channeled, for example, as I said just now, you know, used to refurbish some of these old computers, because these computers are also actually, it is also very toxic to simply just throw it away. Right. You are going to actually create a lot of issues, bad for the environment. But we have to assemble it, we have to collect it back. You know, even the handphone batteries and all those things, it is a scheduled waste. It is you know, contain heavy metal, e-waste. Yeah. So, but how do we move forward from here? You know, if a policy matter, I will always look at that. You know, Dato Gandhi, I'm not sure Mr. Kuan and Chie Azmi, because Chie Azmi knows me, because I was a regulator. I know how. Yeah. You know, we ask them to contribute. You know, then so far the water industry has not done that, because the water industry it is not on full cost recovery. So we are, but for energy. The energy sector is slightly different. The energy sector, I was also in charge of one trust fund. We call it MESITA, Malaysian Electricity Trust Fund. So where all the IPP will contribute 1% of their sales to this fund. And this fund is used, managed by the ministry. I don't know why now is under Energy Commission. Used to be under the ministry, which I was chairman. It is being audited by the accountant, by the Auditor General. It's transparent. We have a committee comprising both the private and the public sector to manage that fund. Where Unit 10 came in, submit proposal. Anyone will submit proposal, then we use that fund to do this work. You know, so we managed to put up a lot of solar hybrid facilities in a lot of islands. Then this the Universal Service Provision Fund of the what do you call that, the MCMC, Malaysian Communication Multimedia Commission, is now also being used. But moving forward is our humanitarian, you know, our civil organizations that do so much work. I know there is a law on the persons of disability, yeah, POW, yeah. I think people with disability, there is a law on that. There is a fund, but the fund is the government contributing it to it. You know, I think YB Senator Ras Abiba is just talking about, you know, maybe you need to create a national disease fund or something, yeah. But look at that. I think Mr. Kuan, would you as an NGO support this type of idea, Mr. Kuan?
Definitely, Dato. I think this is very, as what Dr. Gandhi has told and Tuan Azmi has said about our panelists has said, we need to have a strategic plan to support this social net of this we call it less fortunate society. I think it's a very good idea, Dato, and I think we should push forward to implement all these initiatives and laws. And I also think that this is what Dr. Gandhi has mentioned just now. Really should be, this corporate should come up with not only is an event calendar, to show your shareholders that you are doing kindness. I, as an NGO, I always get what I call it, sad, because some of the corporates who come in, they dictate the terms and they want them to look good rather than to have. This is a very big problem that we face as NGO. We face that mereka mengenakan syarat-syarat untuk mempopularkan syarikat mereka rather than the real kindness behind it. So this is the problem that NGO face, because they put of course they want transparency, we give them transparency, but dia mau lebih gambar daripada derma. So very sorry to say.
Let me go back to some of the other questions. There's another question here from from Emilia Hooi. He said, "Hi, I am from Masing Foundation, and we work with B40's running program under the education, health, and well-being and community development pillars. I'm interested to hook up with other corporate partners to collaborate on programs with measurable and sustainable impact." Very good. I think that is for those that are listening to this, and also for those NGOs, our civil organization. Please take this up, and also some of the corporate sectors partners. And can I just go one more on this? Is from Diana Shahadan, who happen to be one of my friends. What do you think? Maybe corporate should consider practicing credit hours to staff for them to do some community service, CSF, CSR, or anything related, maybe to collaborate with NGO. Azmi, can you respond to this as a head of administration?
Yeah. Well, this is something that could motivate corporate body to participate in all the program in CSR, but we have to clearly define the system of credit, you want to call it. But I did say that even in our daily CSR effort, we do take into account the credit that we will receive at the end of our contribution.
Okay.
CSR, because basically the credit is what motivates us. The credit can be in the form of it will prolong the longevity of raw water, credited given for our excellence, which is good for the company business, because we need to make money in order to be able to give up CSR program. So credit where it deserves should be given, and it should be part of motivation, as Dr. Gandhi himself said, and it should be part and parcel of the to determine whether the company is doing right or not. That's my opinion.
Okay. Then actually this is more a comment, but I don't know whether Mr. Kuan would like to respond to this or to also add on to it. He said, "Mr. Kuan Heng, you are doing a wonderful job by going out to the people at the grassroots who really need help. Would other corporate organizations come forward to do what you have been doing right, to the class group level. Anyone wanted to respond to this? Mr. Kuan, you wanted to tell us that how, as you have mentioned, it is internal. It is it is not something that it has to be internalized. This sort of thing is not something that you can force onto it. Anyone wanted to comment, including Mr. Kuan? And probably it is our ending message, because it's already coming to 11:15. That what do you wish to convey to the audience, and also maybe for the organizers to put up a short report, and so that it can be sent to the relevant authorities. Mr. Kuan, would you want to start with this, and I will then have to close the session.
Thank you, Dato. Thank you, our distinguished and honorable panelists. I think today is a good discussion, but to me, very simple. My message: I'm quite senior in age. So sudah 60 tahun usia emas.
Very young.
So I just want to leave a message across to all Malaysians that this is our country. If we do not man it, who will do it? If not now, when will it be? I'm leaving this world, of course, but I want to see a good, sustainable country, and also harmony. We live in harmony. So that's why I'm working every day. Every day, I don't have a rest day. So I like to make people life better, and I want to I want to be an example to let people say that this is no racial barrier, there's no religion barrier. I hope that we can work together with the corporates, and hopefully more corporates will come in to help the NGO. There's a lot of NGO. I'm the lucky one that I have received a lot of support from corporates. But there are many NGOs, like what Dr. Lee is saying, that the NGOs, I think the corporates are not very keen on the environmental issue. This is, I believe in that, because I think let's work together. This is our country. Let's do it together.
Okay, good. And can I go to Cik Azmi first? If you like the...
Yes, I would like to say something on the... Now, in SAJ, producing water, the biggest cost in producing water is power itself.
Yeah.
They constitute more than 50% of the total cost. So we'd like to have the power sector, which is on a, can say lucrative income, to do kind to the other sector, which is not having such a good income as them. So this is a do kind between another one sector to another sector, because at the end of the day, it will promote a better unity among all the players, not only in one sector but all sectors in Malaysia. When the reliance on certain things is too high, there is a need for them to think of how we can do good to other sectors in helping the lower income sector to survive.
Okay, good. And I'm aware that I think the Ministry of Environment and Water has also in their water transformation roadmap 2040 has also incorporated a lot of these energy efficiencies, renewable energy, which is actually more on environmental, taking care, as what Azmi has mentioned, friends of river, all those things, and if some of it, as what Dato Gandhi said, can actually trigger some social entrepreneur to undertake some of these initiatives, I think you'll be good for the nation. Yeah, you'll be good for the nation. Yeah, Dr. Lee.
Yeah, thank you, Dato Teo and distinguished panelists. From a young organization's point of view, I would like to say to all of you that don't give up. Individual actions can have a huge impact if adopted by many, and this is how we created the impact. However, it will take time to convey this message across the public, and undoubtedly it will be a long-term investment. But I would think that creating a CSR awareness in Malaysia is the most important stepping stones towards a successful CSR implementations. And someone has to initiate the change. And I hope we work together, all the young organizations, don't give up, we can work together with all the SME together. Yeah.
Okay, and Dato Gandhi?
Okay, I got 2 points. I think the question raised by Miss Emilia Hooi from Masing is an excellent question, because it's quite creative here, because what she's proposing is that, can I partner with other corporates? No, maybe several SMEs can come together. So this is where, again, that entrepreneurship, we need to be creative, we need to be innovative in coming together. We don't have to do everything ourselves. There are different strengths in different organizations. And that was the motivation of creating Kind Malaysia, where all the NGOs, corporates with similar objective coming together, where we could partner, where we could create this kind of common objective and achieve certain ultimate goals. But overall, I would like to also talk about a little bit about this word disaster reduction.
Disaster
reduction. Sometimes there is 2 words here. In crisis, normally crisis creates disasters. What is the result of a crisis? It's a disaster. It could be a flood. A flood. A disaster is the one that creates crisis. Sorry, what I mean, flood. It creates this disaster. It could be some kind of earthquake, a volcano, or whatever. And this current situation, it's a pandemic. It's a virus. So, but this is only one situation that we are creating. But the word is actually that is used in the disaster field is they call it disaster reduction. You cannot stop disasters, but you can reduce the impact of disaster on human life. So if we as NGOs, corporates, government can prepare for the next disaster. Because the problem with disasters is that it doesn't tell you when it will come and what it will come. It will come in a different way. And what is predicted now, and all scientists in the world is predicting very clearly, and they even have a timing, and their books written, science has said that the next major disaster is environmental disaster. This pandemic is a baby. It's a baby. So there could be, imagine if the temperature outside, that you get out of the house, you cannot get out of the house. What are we going to do? Am I right to say that? So I think we need to think about reducing, disaster reduction means we need to plan now as humans. Because for the human society to live on Earth, it's not just Malaysia. There's no border anymore. Sometimes I find it funny because when I travel all over, I had an opportunity to work in many countries. People are now talking about a global, but we are talking about, races within the country. We are only 30 million people in this country. We are very small. You know what I mean? And if we 30 million, we need to get together the whole world. The 7 billion people need to cooperate. 8 billion people need to cooperate. So 30 million, it's nothing for us to cooperate. No, it should be much easier. Am I right to say that, to work with each other? And whether it is going beyond, I think we need to think about humanity. And it is in our interest, corporate's interest. How can a corporate survive when the consumer doesn't have money? Am I right? The consumer cannot spend, the corporates cannot survive also. And I think somehow if we can have a common objective, find a way, and ultimately, as Dr. Angie, you were mentioning, very interesting, it's individual. it's always my experience in life is that the individual can make a difference.
Yeah.
All we need is somebody who is committed
Yep.
and who says that I want to make a difference, and that individual can make a difference.
Yep.
Be a change inside your corporate, be a change inside your NGO, and
Yeah.
you can work together, and you will find that that support comes from all over the place. Of course, there's a lot to talk, but bottom line is that no, we need to bring the kindness in our heart
Yep.
to reality. It is there. It is there in all of us. We just have to bring it out. No?
Yep. Very good. More practically sum up, what we are, the whole forum is all about. And definitely, I totally agree with you. We are all like-minded people, in this area. I think we can foresee that the future generations are going to suffer if it is a business as usual. If we don't treat the environment, the next much bigger disaster is going to be on environmental issues. When a lot of people are going to be, deprived of drinking water, you're going to have the toxic waste everywhere, and climate change. The future generation will really suffer. And I think with this, I would like to, end this morning forum. I'm very happy to have, be involved as a moderator and for such a good cause. Yeah, and thank you all, Dr. Gandhi, for putting up this platform for corporates to actually work with the NGOs in this area. And Dr. Angie, continue with your good work. I'm sure that many will come to support you all, young professionals. I think it's good, and Chie Azmi, continue to work internally, in your organization.
Yes.
Because if you look at the Bursa Malaysia's ESG, Bursa Malaysia put it as an ESG guide, sustainability guide. They use economic, environmental and social, but because they say that the ESG and the governance aspect of it, Malaysian corporate governance is quite good. So they if those are the one, please take a look at that. It is a good guidelines for any companies, not necessarily that you are listed companies, as what Dr. Angie said, even small companies, you can look at that, and to Mr. Kuan, I think wonderful job. I think you can see the comments from the chat box. People are pressing want to have more people like Mr. Kuan, and as we said that eventually we have to look at something that can change for a better Malaysia, and the whole purpose of this 2 days forum and the 3 days event is to model, to create a model society for our future generation, that we wanted to empower our future generation and ourselves and those who are involved in this to have to implement change, to also try to get everyone to move forward. United society, that we should not leave anyone behind. Yeah. So with that, thank you everyone, and thank you all the audience and also all the panelists, the organizer. I know they have been working very hard, and I wish all of you well. Stay safe, and hopefully we should be able to overcome this pandemic. Yeah, I think we have to be positive in that. Every one of us cooperate that we should be able to overcome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato Teo.
Thank you, Dato.
Distinguished guest. Thank you, Mr. Kuan and Mr. Azmi and Dr. Angie, and all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dato Teo and all the panelists. That was indeed an engaging and thought-provoking discussion brought up by our panelists. I hope You have gained benefits and some insights regarding our topic today. Before I end the session, I would like to remind everyone to stay online on the Kind Malaysia 2021 virtual platform and visit all the participating organizations. Do not forget to interact with the representative by contacting them through the button displayed on their booth. I'm also inviting all of you here to watch the presentation from these organizations happening throughout the event day. You may refer to the overall program schedule as prepared in the virtual platform. Take a screenshot or a photo shoot of your moments with Kind Malaysia and tag us on social media at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And with that, I would like to end the session. Till then, stay safe and please take care.